Good morning everyone, and thank you for joining our first live Zoo to Ute. We are at Paradise Wildlife Park and we are with our lions today at the Lion Pride Lands. So we've got a big feed for them on and we are joined by Ian, our head of cats and carnivores. So say hello, Ian.
Hi, good morning everyone.
So right now in their habitat we have some carcass feeds for them. So the girls will be let out anytime.
Can I receive? I'm happy for you to let the lions on and then crack on after.
And they're just about to be let out by the team. So Ian, please can you tell us what's about to happen?
So, the girls today have got quite a big carcass feed. This is kind of our first week of second lockdown, so we're actually going to gorge them up a little bit today. Lions naturally eat this way normally. They have a gorge and a starve. Now, Zuri is the one that's just run around there with that huge big leg. I actually wanted her to get that piece first because the other two girls have got bits of calf each. And Zuri doesn't like calf. It's not her favourite food. She's a little bit of a spoilt little princess, to be honest. So luckily, she did get the right piece, and we're now hoping that the other two girls are going to come over here and find the calf. But they are not fed in their normal places today. So this has probably thrown them a little bit. So the first one to find her calf is Kia. Kia is the mom of the other two girls in here. She's 14 years old. She's a nice old girl. And hopefully Azula is about to click. Yes, she has. That's worked perfectly because I didn't know how that was going to go this morning. But these two have found their calf. Now these two do really like it, and as you can see, I know people think it's a little bit gory. It is a whole carcass. Obviously in the wild, these guys will get all of their nutritional value from eating the organs, from eating the heart and the liver and things like that, and eating all the fur. It does help keep their systems nice and clear. Just like your domestic cats, these guys will cough up fur balls. Anything they can't digest, they tend to bring back up. So it works really well. Now, some people get upset because obviously we are feeding calf out. So I just want to stress to people that we haven't killed calves to feed these guys purposely. This is actually a byproduct of the dairy industry, actually. Obviously, cows, we want their milk from them, so we obviously have to take their calf from them. Very few places use the practice where they keep their calves with their cows, but it is starting to get more popular. So this ends up being a byproduct of that. Luckily for us, it works really well because we can use it. So we know that the animals aren't going to waste, and it's a really, really good feed for these guys. Azula and Kia have got about 12, 13 kilo each here, so this is quite a large meal. It will probably keep them going for about 2 or 3 days now at least. It might be 4 days until we feed them again, depending on their behaviour. Zuri has actually been on a diet. So Zuri picked up that bit of horse leg initially. She's got big bone in that and less meat. And she's been on a diet for about 12 months now. And because of the way we feed them by gorging and starve them, it's not very easy to get weight off them. If you've got cats at home, these guys are exactly the same behaviour. So they're really, really lazy animals. You're talking probably 18 to 20 hours a day. Now, even though it's a cold day today, it's beautiful sunshine, it's blue skies, these guys will still eat and sleep for about 18 hours after this meal. We'll be lucky if they do anything for the next day or two after a meal like this. So they're not exercising, that means they're not really burning a lot of energy. In the wild, these guys might be successful in hunting, maybe 1 in every 6 hunts might result in a kill. So therefore, they've burnt a lot of energy before they actually find something to eat, and then they'll gorge on it. They are capable of eating maybe about 1/3 of their own body weight. So the girls here are averaging around 150, 160 kilo. So they can easily eat about 40, 50 kilo in a single sitting. But in the wild, very, very slow metabolism for these big cats as well. And in the wild, they might not make another kill for over a week. So it'll be a while for their food again.
So thank you all for everyone that has joined so far our stream. We are at Paradise Wildlife Park in Hertfordshire. We currently are looking for donations through our Just Giving page, the Animal Support Fund, as we are in our second lockdown. If you are also looking for something else to watch on TV throughout lockdown, if you are getting a bit bored, then we have CBBC's One Zoo Free, where you can see our amazing animals and the work that we do here, not only at Paradise Wildlife Park, but conservation around the world.
So, excuse me, a little bit about these cats. So, like I said, we've got Kia, who's the mom here. She's 14 years old, and she's quite an old girl now. In the wild, you know, lions probably, females getting to about 10 to 12 would be a really, really good age. Only in some really well-protected areas where there's, you know, an abundance of prey, and again, relying on strong genetics from their parents, would you see lionesses get to 13, 14 in the wild? It doesn't happen very often, but in captivity, they are going to live a lot longer here. We obviously give them health care, we vaccinate them against disease, and as they get older and slower in captivity and wouldn't be able to hunt in the wild and sustain themselves, we keep feeding them. So they should live a lot longer here, and we're hoping most of our cats reach at least kind of 15 or above. Then you know that they've had a really long, healthy life. Her two daughters in here are Azula and Zuri. Zuri's actually going to be 9 in January, and Azula, the oldest daughter there, she was 11 this year, so she's still tucking into her calf there. Now, you might be able to see just in the distance is Moto. That is dad to Zuri, our youngest female. Azula actually had a different dad before Moto arrived. Now, these are actually non-breeding pride anymore. They are actually what we call white lions. So they have a leucistic gene in them. So that makes them this lighter colour than you normally see to our typical kind of tawny or brown kind of coloured lions. The leucistic gene is a recessive gene. So in people, that's similar things like blonde hair and blue eyes, really. And they're incredibly rare in the wild. They're not a different species of lion. They are actually just normal African lions, but just carry this gene. And a way I kind of normally explain it is that you know, we're all the human species, we're all the same species, but we're all different shapes and colours and sizes. The animal kingdom is no different. But sadly, with white lions, they're very controversial because some people now have inbred these guys in captivity to guarantee that coloration, which is actually why we do not breed our lions here anymore at Paradise Wildlife Park. These will be the last of the white lions that we have here. And the only time that you should really see white lions now is maybe every 15 to 20 years in the wild. You might get the odd occasion where two tawny lions meet, both carry this gene, and they might throw a white cub out. The last time I heard about it was in Kruger National Park. You're probably talking about 2016, 2017. I have no idea if that adult made it to, it was a young male, I don't know if he actually made it to adulthood in the wild. So once these are finished breeding, we're hopefully going to look at some more genetically viable lions to go into this enclosure, or some big cats that are really threatened at that time, and we'll be able to contribute towards the breeding program then. Now, even though these guys won't breed anymore, they'll never be considered for re-release because of the genetics. We do use them still to raise lots of money for conservation. So we've done lots of projects in the wild where we've helped buy radio collars for lions and things like that. And you can do that by coming and doing experiences here at the park with our big cats. Part of that money gets to go towards protecting these guys out in the wild, which is where we want to keep them. Now, at the moment, that's really, really important to protect lions in the wild because, sadly, over the last 15 years alone, we have lost about 50% of our lion population. When I first started working with big cats about 15, 16 years ago, there was about 50 to 60,000 lions estimated to be just in Africa alone, with that small population in India, in the Gir forest, with about 300 to 400 individuals. Since that, in Africa, that population has probably gone down to around 20,000, maybe just below. So that's a huge, huge decrease. Even some of our most popular tourist areas in Kenya and the Masai Mara and places like that, where you see all of our lovely documentaries being made, the population has dropped by a huge, huge amount, possibly up to kind of 3/4 have disappeared. And most of these issues are all through animal-human conflict, whether you've got livestock farmers poisoning wild animals that are taking livestock, or whether we've just taken down a lot of their natural habitat for farmlands and things like that. So there's so many different issues in so many different areas. So it's massively important. If you're like me, you know, I think about Africa, I always think of the big five with the animals and the wildlife. It's the first thing that I come across. So to imagine lions, if we carry on in the trend we are, these guys could be gone in the next 15 years if we carry on with the way we are and we don't make significant changes and make sure that we're protecting these animals in the wild, which is, you know, where they belong. It's where we want them to be.
Amazing. Thank you everyone for joining the stream so far. We are currently doing our live streams across this entire lockdown called Zoo to You. We are based at Paradise Wildlife Park in Hertfordshire, so thank you everyone for your support. Don't forget to engage with us, comment, share, like, and spread the word. We also have our Just Giving page going called the Animal Support Fund. So if you would like to make a donation, that would be very kind to keep us looking after our animals throughout this really tough period. So Ian, how do we tell the girls apart?
So the way we tell them apart, well, the keepers do it slightly differently, but with the lions, looking at Kia, I find that she's a little bit darker than the rest. She's got this more kind of tan fur, which actually makes her look more like a tawny coloured lion than anything else. But one of the key things with Kia and her oldest daughter is you can see that her nose is a little darker and a little blacker than her sister, and also Moto. Moto doesn't have this black nose either. Now, it's actually not a natural feature on them. Sadly, the two oldest, well, Mum and the oldest daughter, Azula, both occasionally get kind of allergies in the summer, which came on a few years ago. And they tend to rub their nose when it itches, so they've actually got this distinctive black marks there. Mum's also the oldest. She looks a little bit more tired and she's a little bit more slower in her behaviour. But if we go across to Azula over here, she's the oldest daughter, and it's hard to tell when she's lying down, but Azula's the supermodel of the group, I suppose. She's kind of a lot leggier. She's kind of taller than the rest, even though she's not actually the heaviest. And she does still have that distinctive kind of black mark on her nose, where she's obviously followed in Mom's genetics there with the odd allergy that these two get in the summer. At the back, we've got Zuri. She's got a big bum to us at the moment, but she is actually the bulkier one out of the few. She's quite a stocky, shorter cat, but she's actually the heaviest out of them all. But she has slowly now lost some weight. We've probably got about 10-15 kilo off her in the last 12 months or so, and she's now staying at a similar weight to her mum and her sister, which she looks a lot better at, but she is definitely the gutsy one out of the three.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ian, and thank you to our amazing Lion Girls. Thank you to everyone watching the stream. Don't forget to share and comment. Follow us on social media at Paradise Wildlife Park. If you are looking for something to do during lockdown, we have a show called from CBBC's 1Z3, which showcases all the work that we do here with our animals, not just at Paradise, but the conservation around the work. We also have our Just Giving page of the Animal Support Fund, so please, if you would like to donate, you can head there. So thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later, everyone.